What's up, guys? Welcome back, man. JP GFS coming back for the Steelers and Ravens matchup this week. Hey, guys, I appreciate you loving the support. Hopefully, you guys had a nice cashing day on the Monday night slate. As always, guys, like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Remember, subscribing and liking always helps the channel. If you guys like what you see and it helps you guys, please continue to do so. It helps the channel grow so much and helps me as well. Moving on, guys, we finally get this Ravens and Steelers matchup. Will be different for sure because you've got so many different guys out. Majority of the guys that are out will hurt the offense of the Ravens. Not so much the Steelers. The Steelers are mostly on board to be pretty much who they are in general. Could make this game kind of lopsided. The Ravens D should be still pretty good. Of course, the Pittsburgh D is going to be pretty good. We'll just have to kind of wait and see. It's one of those up in the air games that's going to be a little tougher than usual, I think, to call on kind of what's going to happen. But moving on to our quarterbacks, obviously Big Ben's going to be starting. Going to have Robert Griffin Jr. Or the third start for the Baltimore Ravens. Kind of haven't seen him play in a long time. Robert Griffin is good on his feet, can throw the ball. He may even be a better passer than Lamar Jackson. I mean, it's not good to say that he's not better of a passer. Just putting that out there. But he hasn't been good in the last few years. Had a great rookie season, and then it's kind of all fell apart after that. But both of these quarterbacks should be in play tomorrow. Big Ben had a 15 last time out against Baltimore. No really projections on Robert Griffin III because he hasn't really played in a while. It's just kind of been sitting back there collecting a paycheck. I'm sure he's amped up to play in this game. The weather should be fine. It's going to be cold, but I think 10-mile-an-hour winds, nothing crazy to worry about. Shouldn't be a big deal. I think Tuesday was a little bit risk of snow, but doesn't look like since it's been moved to Wednesday, it's going to be a big deal for these guys to play in. Guys to mention here, starting out for Pittsburgh, obviously Pittsburgh's going to be without Connor. He's on that COVID-19 list. So you're going to have Benny Snell Jr. most likely with the start. I'm going to have some backup duties probably belong to Anthony McFarland. To me, Benny Snell's the better play. Doesn't look like many people are right now are on that, the plays of the running backs, but this ownership is a little bit off. Probably just due to people waiting to see if it was going to postpone still or not. Obviously, it's on for right now unless they fly into Pittsburgh and have more positive tests, then you may have another postponement. But looks like it's set in stone right now to happen. So Benny Snell Jr. looks like the guy to have for Pittsburgh. He is pricey, but with good reason. However, this will be a tough matchup. This could be a low-scoring game because both of these defenses are pretty good. Benny Snell is a decent hard-nosed runner, runs downhill. Could see him get in the end zone tomorrow for a touchdown. That is not out of the question. Gus Edwards should be the next running back on the board for most people. Has not played all that well because he hasn't really been given the opportunities. This is kind of a committee backfield for Baltimore. We'll see Gus Edwards handle most of the bulk load. Then you'll see Justice Hill be the backup role in that. I don't see Derek Watt getting too much playing time, but for a $200 price, hey, who knows? Somebody could go down with the injury. Then you got Derek Watt kind of going out there running the ball. That's not something that's going to be unheard of. Could be a case where he sneaks in for a touchdown tomorrow. I mean, stranger things have happened. It is a showdown slate. So I would consider him in play. Justice Hill's kind of that scrap back, kind of going to do scat back that does kind of the pass catching, things like that, can do those kind of things. Could be heavily involved in the passing game tomorrow, especially with a guy like Robert Griffin playing. Could settle him down a little bit and get some throws out. Gus Edwards can catch the ball. But I think they'll share the load, and I think Justice Hill will get some of that pass catching duty as well. So a few runs of his own. Problem is that both of these defenses are really good. Both of these guys are top 10, if not top 10 in the league against the run. So it's going to be incredibly hard for these guys to run on each other tomorrow. Which brings me to the pass catchers, which will also be a task tomorrow for them guys to do that as well. Looking at that, got Juju as one of the higher priced receivers on the slate. Him and actually Johnson and Claypool will be the two most owned. So if you want to get away from some of that ownership, it's going to be kind of pick your poison. All these Pittsburgh receivers are going to be kind of highly owned. It's kind of pick which one you think. Maybe the one is going to get the highest ownership looks like right now is Dante Johnson. So if you want to change that and go with a Chase Claypool, he did have the better outing of the three. The last times these two teams met, he didn't go off or anything. He just had a touchdown catch, and I don't think anybody else had a touchdown catch in that game. So Juju could disappear in this game just because of how good the matchup's going to be. Could also see Claypool get a little bit more involved because the last time they met, they shut Dante Johnson pretty much down, shut Juju down, and then Chase Claypool was the one to get open on a play to score a touchdown. So he may be the one, especially with the low ownership of the three, to take tomorrow. Could be a way to go. I do think all three of these guys are in play, and even James Washington could be a sneaky value at 3,600 to play tomorrow. He does get snaps, and he does catch touchdowns, guys. So that's a sneaky play at 77% owned. And we've seen that happen before, where he comes in there and catches a touchdown pass. That's not unheard of, and that's definitely something that could happen tomorrow. Moving on to the Ravens side of the ball. Obviously, Marquise Brown has been down. He's not been getting the targets he's used to, or getting the yards or receptions that he's getting used to. Some of that falls on Lamar Jackson. He's been pretty bad this year. But then you're going to have Robert Griffin in there, and Dez Bryant should see some play, as well as Miles Boykin. Miles Boykin is a big receiver. I think he's 6'4", 6'5". Could see some targets, especially in the end zone. At an $1,800 price, I think that's deserving of some ownership tomorrow. And he plays about half the snaps. Dez Bryant will probably play behind him, probably play that slot role, so I could see him getting some catches. Pittsburgh is more acceptable to the pass than they are the run. So if Robert Griffin can come out there and pass the ball in time, and those guys run the routes good enough, you could see some big plays or nice plays from this passing offense tomorrow. I do expect if Robert Griffin can come out there and keep his composure and play well, could do some things and make that game interesting tomorrow. But Pittsburgh is 19th in the league at that position against opposing receivers, so not the best in the world, but not the worst. So these guys are sneaky, and if they can get some pressure on Robert Griffin, then could turn that around and make it more interesting as far as defensive wise. Not too much else, guys, to wonder about. Only guy that's kind of sneaky, but I don't like the price of him. Devin Duberay has made some plays. He will be 13% owned. Looks like it's projected ownership right now. He does do their kick returns and things like that, so that's one possibility that he could return a kickback. But I don't see him scoring touchdowns tomorrow. I mean, it's a possibility they could let him split the load with Dez Bryant and get some more playing time tomorrow. That's just kind of the way the gameplay goes. I guess whoever the hot hand may be, they may get the more playing time. So that's something to consider. I just don't like the $3,200 price tag for somebody who may not play but a few snaps tomorrow. So just depending. And I know they have COVID issues and things like that, but still, Duberay's more their kick return guy. He does come in there for a few passing plays, but don't know how much snappage they're going to actually give him tomorrow between these other guys. And it's really hard to kind of project that without actually knowing what they're going to do. So you kind of have to just go with it blind and kind of take a couple stabs at a couple lineups if you're going to play multiple lineups with that kind of play. But I do think he's in play. The rest of these guys, Ray McLeod and James Porsche, I wouldn't I'm not going to play either one of these guys. I don't think they see that much of the field tomorrow. So I'm probably going to avoid those two and just stick with these main guys here. We'll probably go with the cheap, the lower ownership of the 3 on the Pittsburgh side, and we'll probably sneak away from this Marquise Brown. I don't know that he'll get that many targets just because he's the best receiver that they have on the roster. Could see that going to Miles Boykin, even Des Bryant tomorrow. Even it's just hard to project that with Robert Griffin coming out. Or will he be under pressure or just throw a couple picks? Who knows? I do think defense will be in play tomorrow with these guys. But looking at tight ends, um, right now it's hard to say. I'm going to look on DraftKings right now and see who the tight ends are going to be for the Ravens, because I'm not sure who those guys are going to be. So you got Nick Bull on IR. You've got COVID. Mark Andrews is out. So it's going to be rough tomorrow. They may call up a guy from the practice squad or something tomorrow. So I'm going to guess that they're going to call up somebody, because right now I don't see anyone. You have an Eric Tomlinson who should see some play tomorrow. He hasn't received any targets yet. And then you got a guy named Jarrell Adams, who also hasn't seen any targets this season. But these kind of guys are going to play, and they're going to be really, really cheap. So that might be a good play tomorrow. Just figure out which one's going to start, and do a little research on them guys and see who's going to start, and maybe pick one of them guys because they are $200 in price. So I do advise taking one of those tight ends to save you some salary tomorrow. Obviously, Eric Ebron's been kind of the lead tiger for the team for targets as tight end for the Steelers. I think you just keep going that way. Don't expect ownership to go to Vance McDonald or Kevin Redar tomorrow, just because those guys aren't receiving that many targets. I thought Vance McDonald would be better, but he hasn't really done anything this year, and he's been pretty inconsistent and not even consistent enough to even play him as a contrarian, unless Eric Ebron was rolled out for some reason or something like that is the only reason you want to play Vance McDonald. But moving on to kickers, both these kickers are really good. This will be a defensive game. Could see the kickers playing plenty of role in this game. I love Justin Tucker. The guy has been amazing for the past few years. He's just automatic most of the time. Chris Boswell is pretty damn good too in his own right. So I expect these guys to be highly owned. I expect a lot of people to play kickers tomorrow and defenses tomorrow, just because of the game strategy with so many Ravens players being out, not knowing the unknown of not knowing how well Robert Griffin is going to play, and could surprise some people. Could be pretty good tomorrow. I mean, it's just hard to know. And he is mobile on his feet, so I do think he's a good play tomorrow, just because he'll get those yards on his feet. But I do think the kickers are being played tomorrow. As far as defenses, I have them both of them marked tomorrow. I do think they're in play. Don't play, obviously, kicker or defenses in your captain. They're going to need a lot to be able to overcome like someone else in the captain spot that may score a couple touchdowns or something tomorrow. I do not think this will be a high-scoring game. I could see a 24-21 game or something like that, or even a 24-14 game, something in that area tomorrow, just because of the way the defenses play. And both of these teams like to play a little slow sometimes. So we'll have to project that and see how that kind of goes. I could see a lot of 3-and-outs, couple first downs, and then a stall. Have to punt or field goal. Could see that happen quite a bit tomorrow. Just how good these defenses are. And the first matchup was pretty good as far as defensive wise. So I could expect to see that again tomorrow, especially with all the inactives you have on each side. Far more for the Ravens side than you would have the Steelers side. But that's kind of the way I'm looking at it for tomorrow. Guys, as always, The YouTube channel is always open for comments and questions, as well as a Twitter account. Guys, I'll mention once again this draft dashboard tool that I'm using is available for in the description below for 30 days. You can try this for 30 days, guys. It gives you plenty of options. It gives you player projections, the last 3 games, what their ownership is going to be, touch rate, snap rate, what their projection is going to be, what the opposing team is looking like on defense against the position overall. Gives you cheat sheets, top players for the week, sleeper studs, articles, trends, etc., who's hot, who's not, all those kind of things, and also allows you to take the players, your very own players that you individually choose for yourself, and put them in an optimal lineup, up to 150 lineups that you can export to Draftkings or FanDuel to help you optimize your game and get a competitive edge over the field in DFS tournaments. You can use this for NFL, NBA, MLB, and NHL. Is available right this moment. All you have to guys do is go down to the description below and click on that and fill out the information and get yourself started. Guys, remember to like and subscribe to the video. And I hope you all have a great day tomorrow, and way we all win big cash tomorrow. It's going to be a nice game, 3:40 Eastern PM kickoff. Should be nice to have an evening game. I know a lot of people will be at work. I'll get the privilege of actually chilling back and watching it tomorrow, so that'll be cool. But guys, questions, comments, anything you guys have, please hit me up on my Twitter or YouTube comments. You guys have a great rest of your night, and we'll see you again for the first look soon. Goodbye.